ní ibikíbi tí olúkálùkù wa wà ní gbogbo àgbáyé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá. I welcome you once again as we continue the discussion and as we continue the engagement and as we continue to enlighten many of our people around the world. Welcome once again and a very, very good afternoon, good evening. My name is Koikimedia, and we welcome you as you are all welcome into the program again, where we discuss and we look at reasons why the Yorubas wants to exit Nigeria. As we say all the time, this is the platform that talks about the right of the Yoruba people, the self-determination campaign, and a good morning and welcome. As you're coming into the program, remember to share. That is the only thing you can do for us. Share the program and invite friends and family to come and enjoy the transmission as well. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé ẹ káàárọ̀, ẹ káàsán, depending on the time zone tí olúkálùkù wa bá wà. Mo kí bàbá wa Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo kí bàbá wa Olóyè Ìgbòho àkí gbogbo ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pátápátá. Okay, we might switch things around, but let's see how far it goes first. Good morning once again, and welcome to my program. Yoruba Nation is a movement and is a quest by the Yoruba people that wants a total exit from Nigeria. Nigeria was created by the British in 1914, January 1st. Until date, it has been one problem or the other. And as we continue to find a lasting solution to the reason why Nigeria is no longer visibly working in 21st century, that is the reason why, under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the Yoruba people have made up their mind to exit Nigeria. And on that note, we will first start the program by listening to some of the videos like these from our leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, that spoke to us some few weeks back. Let's start with this.
Nigeria, according to estimates, 3.1 million people. And you go rally 1 year, or stand it up at the power. Then to do just anything. Then to dead benefit. A lot of money. A lot of dead one. So, àwọn alàgbà sójà wa tó yẹ ká máa yẹ sí ẹlọ́tọ̀rọ̀ àwa ò kì í ṣe security threat in Nigeria, we are not. Òṣùpá tí mi ò bá fẹnu bá kinní kan ẹ lè sọ pé ọkùnrin ni bàbá àyà àwọn self-determination struggle rẹ̀. Àwa Yorùbá a kì í ṣòkúrọ̀ a dẹ̀ kì í ṣe hypocrite. Kinní kan wà tó jẹ́ kí tó yàtọ̀ díẹ̀ sí self-determination struggle wa tá a gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe. Òun náà ni wípé a gbọ́dọ̀ defend ilẹ̀ wa against àwọn Fúlàní tó wá àtàkì. Tó ń pa ọmọdé, tó ń pa àgbà, tó ń rèpò obìnrin, tó ń gbé abúlé, tó ń destroy oko, tó ń lé gbogbo farmers wá kúrò lórí oko. Tó wá jẹ́ pé tá a bá ṣọ́ra àwa Yorùbá láì for many years to come la máa ní èèyàn after èèyàn after èèyàn, famine after famine after famine. Àwa ò lè afford it. Therefore, a bẹ̀ ìjọba Buhari kó wá defend wa. Ọdún ìjọba Buhari ò wá defend wa ṣe ló dàbí pé wọ́n support àwọn tó wá attack wa ni. Ìdí ẹ̀ nìyẹn ká fi sọ pé àlèlájúlẹ̀ kán máa fìyà jẹ àwọn ẹni wá bí eléyìí kán máa destroy future wa bí eléyìí we have to do something. Ẹ má rò pé ó easy pé ó dùn mọ́ wa láti ṣe. Ẹ rò pé ìjọ tí Sunday Igboho tó dìde tó ń lọ sí Ìgàngàn pẹ̀lú pé ijó àtayọ̀ fẹ́ lọ jà ní ó mọ̀ wípé risk ńlá lòun take ìjọ yẹn ó dẹ̀ take risk yẹn because he loves the Yorùbá nation. Nígbà tó dẹ̀ débẹ̀ jọ yẹn ìtàn kan wà tẹ́ ẹ̀ kì í gbọ́. Ṣé ẹ mọ̀ wípé ara àwọn ọmọ Sẹ́ríkì Ìgàngàn Sẹ́ríkì ní Ìgàngàn ó mú ìbọn lápò ó yìn sí Sunday at point blank. Sunday kan jọmọ tó Ọlọ́run ti sì kí ọ̀nà òkú ẹ̀ làbá gbé wálé jọ ẹ̀. A ò fẹ́ expose àwọn ọmọ wa sí danger ọ̀tá a fẹ́ fi àwọn èèyàn wa sílẹ̀ bí àwọn àjẹmọ́ a fẹ́ fi àwọn ìyá wa sílẹ̀ kán máa rédíò lóró a fẹ́ fi àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké sílẹ̀ káwọn Fúlàní máa pa wọ́n lọ́nà school. No, you have to defend our land. We are forced to. It is not that we love to. It's not. That's not what we wish to do. But it's what we must do out of love for our nation, out of respect for our nation, out of sense of dignity of our nation. So àwọn kan lọ sọ pé àwa security wọn lọ parẹ́ kúrò nínú ìwé wọn àwa we are not a security. What the federal government of Nigeria should do is to defend our land, and there will be no Yoruba man, no Yoruba boy or girl going to the bush to go and try to fool them there. That's our situation. Our struggle is a peaceful struggle, and it's a struggle that is based upon law. The law of this world and the law of Nigeria says that we can seek to separate our country from Nigeria. That's the law, and we are following that law, or those laws. Okay, Gogoyo, àkó ọdún bá wa láyọ̀ ọdún ti bá wa láyọ̀ ìjọ àtayọ̀ la máa fi parí ẹ̀ mo kí àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké àti Fúlàní tí wọ́n ti mọ nǹkan tá à ń ṣe bọ̀ sí kí àwọn là ń ṣe àdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ìwé àmọ́dún àti màmá wà ní kọ́ńtì tiwa o lórí Ọlọ́run ló ní ká lọ ja ìjà yìí and we must fight with faith and hope in the power of the living God to achieve anything in the world. Now we know that His mighty hand is raised up in defense of our nation, in the advancement of our nation to freedom and liberation from Nigeria. Back His hand, we shall prosper. Our purposes today will prosper. Our purposes in our country when we have it will also prosper. Thank you very much.
Well, that was Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Group, that spoke to us at the beginning of this year and highlighted all the reasons why the Yorubas should leave Nigeria before it is too late. It has been 3 years into the campaign, and as every day we see and we read a lot of things happening from Nigeria. Just to remind us quickly that on the 1st of July 2021, we had an attack, an assassination attempt on the life of the leader as well of the Yoruba Nation campaign, and that is Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo. Chief was almost killed by the Fulani government of President Muhammadu Buhari, but we give thanks that that failed. And since then, it's been a roller coaster on a daily basis. As we continue to take the campaign to different levels, we will continue to highlight and say to the international community that as many Christians have been killed in what is called Nigeria today, so as many Muslims and different faiths have been killed. Also, as the United Nations continue to look away while genocide continue in Nigeria, the question to many of us is, what is the United Nations standing for? We know that Nigeria has also part of the different charter under the United Nations, but it seems that the government of Nigeria, from the previous and the present, have all failed. We're going to talk about the Miyetti Allah. Who are they? What do they stand for? And what is the agenda that they have? Let me welcome you once again to the Saturday morning broadcast. My name is OlamilekaN, and it's 10:23 a.m. from London. We are streaming on multiple platforms, and you can switch around depending on which of the platform feels comfortable for you to watch us from. We're trying our best with the little resources that we have. So if one platform doesn't feel suitable for you, you might want to switch to another platform so that you can be able to watch and listen to what we are doing on this platform. You can follow us on so many of our social media handles, where we continue to bring some of the development of what is happening in Nigeria and the campaign to the right of the Yoruba people to self-determination. Self-determination is a right, but that right will not be given to us if we do nothing. And that literally means that we will continue on a daily basis to educate and give all the reasons in the world why the Yoruba people should have nothing to do again with Nigeria that was created by the British some almost 110 years ago. Many of our people at home might not understand the reasons why we do not want to be part of what the British created, but we will continue to highlight that the British decided to kill and destroy our culture, our language, our tradition, and the purpose why the British did that is because they knew from day one that the Yoruba people are different from the rest of the different indigenous or ethnic groups in Nigeria. We are not tribes. The British knew that forcing us together to live as one country will create blood, disunity, distrust, and that has been so for the last 63 years of the present day Nigeria today. So the question again is, for how long are we going to live in denial? For how long are we going to live and disbelieve and thinking that we can live as one block? Many of us knows that Nigeria is a failed country. Our elite knows that. Our kings knows that. The politician knows that. Everybody knows that. But nobody wants to come out and say the truth about the present day Nigeria. Nigeria remains a crime scene. And we saw that with the crime that took place in Ibadan in the last couple of days when the terrorists attacked Bodija with the bomb blast. We know that the governor came out and told us these are illegal mining. If you believe that, you are on your own. Those in charge of the security, those that are meant to protect Nigerians, are no longer protecting Nigerians. They're all compromised. And there's a lot of evidence to back that. And there's a lot of individuals, political analysts, that have talked about it as well. If you're new to the platform, make sure you follow every of the platform that we are streaming from, because you might not get notification due to shadow ban of this particular page. I am Olayemi Koiki, and it is called the Koikimedia. Nigeria will remain a crime scene. There will be kidnapping. It does not matter how much you pray to each of your gods. It does not matter how religious you are. Abuja is no longer safe, neither all the states across the country. You might not know when it will be your turn that you will be affected, but as things become very difficult, family will kill each other, friends will kill each other. I watched a video of a Yoruba family, and the video can be watched on our Twitter handle, also known as X. For those of you that have not seen that video, it's very, very brutal. These are Yorubas that have killed each other, brothers, two brothers. One literally hacked the other brother to death. This is not a movie. These actually took place somewhere in the southwest of Nigeria. All this is happening because there's a lot of tension in the country as we speak right now. Last week, we all read and we saw the video where a young banker committed suicide in Ikorodu, and yet, as the government continues to say they are doing everything to stabilize the economy, the question is, do you still trust these corrupt politicians? What is the end game for Nigeria, and who benefit from Nigeria? Who are the beneficiaries of this country called Nigeria? Who actually benefit from Nigeria? Who among us benefit from Nigeria? As many Nigerians are trying to find their feet across the country, those that have the means have literally run out of Nigeria. But there's no way you're going to bring out 200 million people out of the country. And that literally means that the world, Nigeria, will remain as it is should it not dissolve. Many have argued that what will be the end game should Nigeria dissolve? We will have the same set of criminals that have controlled the narratives. We will have the same set of people that have locked our people into abject poverty for a very long time. The politicians are wicked. They've used poverty to destroy the mindset of our people. And that means that our people continue to struggle on a daily basis to survive. So where we come in is to make sure that we can educate and give them all the reasons why we do not want to be part of Nigeria. Let's talk about a particular group and so many of the different groups that is formed or registered working in Nigeria for different reasons. We have different social cultural groups. Everybody knows what the Afenifere stand for. Everybody knows what the Ohanize stand for, the Middle Belt, and so on and so forth. But what does the Miyetti Allah stand for? Who are the Miyetti Allah? What are the purpose of their own organization? We've read and we've seen, we've heard different things about them. Why are we talking about Miyetti Allah today? It's just to remind us that there is so much insecurity in Nigeria, and that means that farmers' elders, as quote and unquote by the government, is what we are told. as we all know, that the Miyetti Allah is a very powerful group in Nigeria, and they remain so. Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria is a loose partisan advocacy group centered. And I want us to take note of every details of what I'm reading and what I'm going to be explaining in the next few hours of this program. Today is the Saturday. The weather is very, very cold, not hot, cold. Here in England, London precisely, where I'm bringing this transmission from, on a Saturday, the 20th of January, 2024 at exactly 10:33 a.m. this morning. The Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria is a loose partisan advocacy group centered on promoting the welfare of Fulani pastoralists in Nigeria. So, looking at these organizations or these associations, if that is what we want to call them, their job is to make sure that the welfare of the Fulanis in Nigeria is well taken care of. The question then is, who are the Fulanis and why are they so important that we continue to talk about them in most of the atrocities and the crime that has taken place in Nigeria for the last decades? Many Nigerians at some point would have heard the name Fulanis. But the question is, who are these Fulanis and what is the reason why they've become a problem in today's Nigeria as we all continue to highlight all these atrocities committed by them? Many of us that have followed the Fulanis knows what they stand for. But it seems that many Nigerians do not know what really they stand for. Let's start from these, just again as we've highlighted it all the time. I will give us as much information about the Miyetti Allah from what we know. The organization was founded in the early 1970s with the headquarters in Kaduna State. It became legally operational in 1979. So you might ask, why was it set up in 1970 and it took them 9 years to start operation? They gained wider acceptance. Again, they actually did not gain any recognition in Nigeria. Nobody accepted them as an advocacy group until 1987. And I want us to take note of the timeline. Remember, we told you they were set up in 1970. It took them another 9 years to start operational of what they were doing in Nigeria. But nobody accepted them as an advocacy group until 1987. The question is, who was in power? Who was the government in 1987? And why were they given acceptance in Nigeria? Was it because power changed hand? Yeah. Or was it because there was some other reasons? Let's listen to these, our brothers that have talked about atrocities committed by the same Fulanis in Nigeria.
Lọ́sàn-án yìí ni wọ́n ṣá obìnrin bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ṣe ní káwọn ọmọ mi jẹ́ ká lọ àfẹ́ máa lọ mẹ́kọ́ àfọ̀n torí àwọn iná ń pè káwọn ò lè lóko wọ́n lẹ́nìkan gbogbo ọ̀nà tápèlè àgbòrò ẹnìkan kan ò lè lóko gbogbo wọn wà lówódé tọ́lọ́ làwọn Fúlàní kan yìnbọn wá sókè babaláwo lálẹ́ àná so tension wà ń bẹ̀ mo ní káwọn ọmọ jẹ́ ká lọ àwọn bíi 20 wọ́n wà lókè rò nísìn búrẹ́dì 2000 ni mo ní kán lọ rà káwọn ọmọ yẹn kan máa fi ọ̀tà jẹ gbogbo wọn ló ní family náà àwọn tí ò ṣiṣẹ́ kan tí ò ṣe kankan wọ́n máa gba sálárì wọ́n máa ṣe ogbẹ̀ wọ́n ń sọ̀rọ̀ àmọ̀tẹ́kùn sí wọ́n náà lọ kọ líìsì wọ́n ní kó máa lọ rẹ́gísà síbì kan àwọn tó lọ rẹ́gísà lọ́dọ̀ wọn yẹn ṣáwọn òsínlù látijọ́ yìí nígbà tí kìnìyàn ti ṣẹlẹ̀ yìí ìgbésẹ̀ òun náà gbé mẹ́ ó yẹ kí gbogbo àjọ wà lórí fíìdì nínú àwa tá à gbowó àwa ń perform àwọn tí wọ́n yìí ní hope àbí táwọn èèyàn rí gangan I didn't even see their performance at all it's as if we are just stupid we don't know what we are doing but tí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí òun mo yẹ ní kí n kọ́kọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ kí sẹ́ríkì tó sọ̀rọ̀ mo mọ̀ pé díẹ̀ ní sẹ́ríkì á sọ tí ẹ bá fẹ́ gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ àbí ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀ àwọn àgbààgbà kan sì wà nínú kára yẹn tó yẹ pé wọ́n ń ṣe inside meeting lábẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn àgbààgbà kan sì wà nínú kára yẹn àwọn àgbà yẹn ẹ jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn yìí mọ̀ pé àwa ò lè lọ ilẹ̀ haúsá mo ti sọ láàfin rí àwa ò lè lọ ilẹ̀ haúsá ká máa lọ ṣáyàwó wọn lójoojúmọ́ ká máa rẹ́pọ̀ ọmọ wọn àwọn kíní tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ń jẹta ni òun mo fi hàn yẹn ẹni tó ń gé lórí ẹni tó ń dúnú gbogbo abúlé tó ń finá sí tí wọ́n bí Yorùbá kan dákó lọ ṣerú ẹ̀ náà ti lùlù tiwọn tí ò bá yẹ pé mi ti súnmọ́ ọlọ́pàá mo súnmọ́ ọlọ́pàá ni àti pé mo rí polóyè ìlú ni mí ni mo ṣe ń kọ̀ntú ara mi ohun tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ pẹ̀lú òkú tèmi ti ń rí láti jèlò á ti sọ́ọ̀dà torí tí nǹkan kan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Fúlàní kan nísìn orúkọ mi ò dá Àbújá ìjọ ẹni wọn ò gbọ́ ìjọ mo ti ṣe fún Fúlàní wọn ò gbọ́ o wọn ní kọ́lọ́pàá máa wá ní o ìjọ tí n bá tó bá dé pé owó bá di pé àwa náà bá ṣéǹjì ojú ìgbà yẹn lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ gbogbo ọwọ́ agbára tí wọ́n lè fi frustrate yẹ tó fi ní dá sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn mọ́ ni wọ́n máa ṣe so eléyìí ìjókòó tẹ ń pè ní ìjókòó àlàáfíà yìí ìjókòó àlàáfíà kọ́ o a máa jókòó àlàáfíà o àwọn step 1 àwọn ọmọ wọn wà ní pápá nsìn wọ́n ń bá àwọn ọmọ wa fà á gangan ẹ pé ọjọ́ ọ̀nà sáìdì nsìn kẹ́ ẹ béèrè ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ pé ìgbà ẹ béèrè pé kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú igbó wọn sìn ẹ pé gan aládé lọ ẹni kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ pé tòun pé kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kí n pe fóònù kan sì kí n gbé sí spíkà àwọn náà wà lọ́hùn pé ọ̀dọ̀ yín sìn kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ wọ́n á sọ̀rọ̀ fún yín so èmi ò lọ́rọ̀ púpọ̀ o tí àwọn sẹ́ríkì torí bí wọ́n ti ń wọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
That means that at some point, as Nigerians, you must have heard about Fulanis, but do we know how it all started in terms of the Miyetti Allah? So I'm giving us a background history of this particular association known as the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. We summarize back again. They were established, set up, founded in 1970s with their headquarters in Kaduna State. They didn't start any legally operational until 1979. They actually gained wider acceptance in 1987. So let's go back and see 1987. Who was Nigeria president? Okay, we can start moving things and finding out maybe it was a military regime. Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida is a Nigerian retired general and a statesman who served as the military president of Nigeria from 1985 until his resignation in 1993. That indicates, if I go back to Miyetti Allah gained wider acceptance in Nigeria in 1987. That was 2 years after Babangida became the military dictator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that shows that Miyetti Allah was not accepted before that. Could it be that Babangida gave them the opportunity and gave them the advantage against what other Nigerians or different ethnic indigenous people would not have loved? But it was a military regime. Who would have the power to challenge the military as at that time? We all know what will be the end game. is either you are killed or you would not live to see the other day. So, without looking into or going further, you can automatically tell that Babangida gave all clear for the Miyetti Allah in 1987. And if we multiply 1 plus 1, giving us 2, you will know that Babangida had an agenda. And what was the agenda? We've had a lot of agenda, but people say that agenda is a false. We are trying to create something that is not there. We are only trying to bring down this particular ethnic group called Miyetti Allah, called Fulanese, because we don't like them. We don't have, we hate them. Different reasons for bringing them down. Did Babangida had any agenda to create an Islamic country called Nigeria? I want you to put that in the comment section. Did Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida is still alive? Did he was born 17th of August 1941, age 82 years old, sits in the wheelchair. He will never stand up back on his feet for all the crimes he has committed. We have talked about OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, formerly Organization of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we have been a member since 1986. Seems that something is adding up, or maybe it is just myself. Remember, Miyetti Allah was founded in 1970. We did not even accept them until 1987. They did not start operation until 1979. Who are the 57 members of the OIC? There's a lot to discuss today. And I'm speaking in English because I want this to be documented. And I will not be interrupted by saying hello, good morning to any one of you on the platform, because I want my international media organizations around the world that will come across this video just to keep it as their own reference, because one day, should things go the other way around in Nigeria, these are some of the things that we will pull out and say that we talked about it, but nobody wanted to listen. So if I'm not greeting you this morning, not that I don't know you're there, but I don't want to mix this broadcast with too much calling names of those that are listening to me around the world. There is 57 members of the OIC. If you don't know the meaning of OIC, I will explain to you. OIC literally stands for the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. We've had people talk about there's an agenda to create an Islamic country called Nigeria. Some say no, there's no evidence to back that. But let's go back again. If Miyetti Allah was founded in 1970, legally, operation started 9 years after. It even took them 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. It took them another 8 years. Literally, it took them another 8 years before they were accepted, based on the fact that Babangida was the current military dictator in 1987. Let's look at something. Good morning once again and welcome. Please share this program. It's very, very important. Love it and like it. And make sure you follow us on all our platforms. Once again, I'm just picking up something that I want us to. How Nigeria joined OIC is what I was asking on Google. How did we become a member of the OIC? Let's see if we can find something to back us. Time flies, and I'm reading this article that was posted by Kadira Christopher, the Reliance newspaper.com.ng, dated June 21st, 2019, by Mujirade Ojo. Time flies. It has been 32 years already since the general known renter criers called Nigerian press began an unwarranted brouhaha over this country's membership of Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC, in January 1986. I want us to take note of those dates, years, because it is very, very important. These are the key area that you want to focus on. I will continue to go back each step when I find a date and the year so that you don't lose plot. Remember, Miyetti Allah was founded in 1970. It took them 9 years to start legal operation in Nigeria. It took them another 8 years in 1987 before they were accepted for the fact that Babangida became the military dictator in Nigeria. We are now also finding out that Nigeria literally joined OIC a year before Miyetti Allah was accepted. Does that all make sense? Or is it just again another whatever you might think? My name is OLAMILEKAN Koiki, and this is KOKIMEDIA, bringing the world closer to your doorsteps. It is only of recent that many of us started hearing there's an agenda, hidden agenda, to create an Islamic country called Nigeria. And you might wonder why, since we are not all Muslims in a country put together on gunpoint by the British colonial rule in 1914 after the slave trade. Some say we have independent, and I'm wondering if a country that is independent would also convert every one of us into Islam. Many Christians live in Nigeria. Many traditionalists live in Nigeria. Many atheists live in Nigeria. But yet, Nigeria went ahead in 1986 and joined Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC. Maybe that was for the purpose of those in the northern part of Nigeria, and it might have nothing to do with those of us in the southwest and the middle belt. But it seems that the Fulani that we are talking about today are now bringing their own Islamic doctrine from the northern part of Nigeria and pushing it into the southwest and the middle belt. Not just that alone, they are creating havoc on a daily basis in those regions. Why were they given access? Maybe because there were some group of people that have intention of turning Nigeria into an Islamic country. Some say there's no evidence to that. Some even argue that there's no way you can turn Nigeria into an Islamic country. I want us to have pen and paper, because you will lose track if you do not have pen and paper on this broadcast this morning. I want you to take note, because the agenda of an Islamic country did not just started yesterday. It is all part of an agenda that started years, decades back. What do we do to stop all this? And how do we sort it out without I'm working to find as many information that could be of benefit to us today, based on the current and based on the past. What do we know? Are we really sure that Nigeria, or there's a plan, there's an agenda to Islamize Nigeria, or is this just a hearsay that there's no evidence to back that? But I'll see if I can find something. But while I'm looking for that, let's listen to this. No, not this one again. Let's listen to this.
Religious Islamic element in the Yoruba ethnic group, to use them to destabilize that mighty people who have built empires like Oyo and other places long before anything. But they are looking for some weak elements. Like Tinubu is a weak element. People think he's powerful, but he's a weak element in the Yoruba war. These are the weak elements they want to use to be able to push the Islamic agenda. People have been telling you that Islamic agenda is a lie. No, it's true. I can tell you that I was born a Muslim. My people have been Muslim since the 7th century. I'm a Madinga. And we have been Muslim. There is nobody in my ethnic group who is Christian. All my people have been Muslim. And I studied Islam in northern Nigeria. And I'm telling you, the agenda is to push that country toward Islamic agenda or destroy it completely. So to your question, I will tell you that Nigeria does not have a bright future for now. It doesn't have a bright future for now. The elements that are in the north, and most of them are receiving grants. Some of them, even in university, they are getting grants from this Qatar, and all the extreme Islamic groups are giving them money. And they are building, their power is increasing day by day in the political system. They are even creating billionaires that eventually tomorrow they want to control western part of Nigeria. The East a little bit stubborn for them. Eastern Nigeria is stubborn. That's why they are isolating them. The isolation of so-called Igbo, it's not because Igbo hate Nigeria. Igbos are the most Nigerian than any Nigerian. They are every part of Nigeria you find them. They have their own problem for sure, like every African group. But the issue, they are not the problem. But they are acting a little bit stubborn to the Islamic agenda. So they have to be isolated. And to do that, you need.
That was just one out of so many evidence that we've listened to, we've heard, we've talked about. Let me remind us again that Nigeria became a member as one of the 57 of the Organization of Islamic Countries or Corporation. Now, let's read out the names of other members of this association, as we have it and as we know it, please share the program so that we can get many more people to come and hear the truth about the Nigeria Islamic country. Remember to love and remember to support this platform financially, morally, and spiritually. But most importantly, we need your finance so that we can be able to challenge the status quo around the world that does not want our people. It is not just for those of us that can watch. What about those that do not know what I'm talking about, that we can use other method to get to them through leaflets, through stickers, through information that doesn't have to need any internet connectivity? Have we thought about that? This is the reason why you need to support so that we can start printing millions of different conversations like these to be sent across every part of Yoruba land. You can fund it, and we can use that to bring their mind back to the reason why Nigeria will be turned into an Islamic country and all the churches will be wiped off, will be destroyed. Fulanis will come into your church. They will rape your family. They will kill you. You might say it is not, but we can remember what literally happened in Owo. I will give you the soundtrack later on. I'm preparing a lot of things as we go into the program. We've just done 46 minutes so far. So how do you support us? You can do the Bitcoin if that makes you comfortable. You can send it to my Naira account. You can send it to the UK bank account. You can do a PayPal, musakalam1@yahoo.com. You can also do the Kofi, which is also set up, and we're then also raising £50,000. You might say it's a lot of money. Trust me, by the time we start working with such amount, it will not be as much. But so far, you are not supporting the GoFundMe. Thank you so much to my brother in Canada. Like I said, let me not call the name out. But again, because he has sent his own normal donation as he does in every my program, I would just appreciate him as, say, a brother from Canada. Your funding would allow me to penetrate every of our 191 local government if I have enough resources. I can print many flyers that will go to every of this local government and tell them that Nigeria will be an Islamic country if we do not stop it today. Nigeria will not just happen to you. We will see more churches being attacked because they do not want Christians. There's evidence to all these that I'm talking about, but I'll remind you again today. So let's focus on the 57 members country. Thank you once again, my brother all the way in Canada, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Even without mentioning your name, people know that you are the one I'm talking about. Is there a real agenda, an Islamic agenda for Nigeria? These are the countries that are members of the OIC. We have, just bear with me, I'm just getting this ready. I'll come back to that. And the next video that you're going to listen to is coming from former Navy Chief Kunle Olawumi. 2 years ago, Buhari wants to Islamize Nigeria. So that means Buhari is also doing the same job to complete what Babangida could not finish. Afghanistan is one of the members. Albania, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Benin, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Brunei, Darussalam, Burkina Faso, Algeria, Djibouti, Chad, Indonesia, Morocco, Cote d'Ivoire, Palestine, Gabon, Gambia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Guyana, Iraq, Iran, Cameroon, Qatar, Kyrgyzstan, the Comoros, Kuwait. These are all members of these OIC. Egypt was suspended in 1979, 9 years after Miyetti Allah was founded. I want us to remember to keep the date as I continue to tell you this, so that you can just continue to look back and multiply and minus. Egypt was suspended in 1979 after it signed the agreement known as Camp David Accord with Israel. So they were not happy that Egypt went to sign an accord with Israel. If you're not using my phone, can I have it? Thank you. So that shows that these Islamic organizations do not want to have any cordial relationship with any Christian countries, even though we know the world is meant to be diverse. But from what I'm reading, Egypt was suspended. I don't know whether they're back, but this suspension came after they signed an accord with Israel in 1984. Again, timing, 1984, it was just 3 more years before Miyetti Allah was accepted in Nigeria. Thank you. An offer to rejoin the organization. Well, in 1984, it accepted an offer to rejoin the organization. So they accepted Egypt back again in 1984. Syria again was suspended just not too far in 2012 as it cracked down on the Arab Spring protester that evolved into the civil war. Again, you can tell that they were upset that Syria is not going in line with the Islamic, foundation or the rules that were set up. What does OIC stand for? It is known as Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Which country has the most Muslim? Indonesia. Once again, a very good afternoon. Good morning. It's 5 minutes past. So let's take you back again to the website of www.oic-oci.org, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the collective voice of the Muslim world. The collective voice of the Muslim world. Republic of Azerbaijan has been a member since 1992. Asmit Kingdom of Jordan has been a member since 1969, 9 years after the fraudulent independence of Nigeria. Islamic Republic of Afghanistan has been a member since 1969. Republic of Albania has been a member since 1992. The State of United Arab Emirates has been a member since 1972, just 2 years after Miyetti Allah was founded in Nigeria. Republic of Indonesia has been a member since 1969. Republic of Uzbekistan has been a member since 1996. Republic of Uganda became a member in 1974. Islamic Republic of Iran has been a member since 1969. Islamic Republic of Pakistan has been a member since 1969. Are they looking for the Islamic Republic of Nigeria? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Kingdom of Bahrain became a member in 1972. Brunei Darussalam became a member in 1984. People's Republic of Bangladesh became a member in 1974. Republic of Benin became a member in 1983. Burkina Faso, the Upper Volta, became a member since 1979. Republic of Tajikistan became a member since 1992, just a year before the collapse of the 1993 election that Babangida decided that MK Abiola, even though another Yoruba Muslim, would never be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He gave a lot of different reasons for that annulment. Could it be that orders were coming from the OIC not to allow MK Abiola to become the president, knowing fully well that MK Abiola doctrine of Islam is different from the Islamic doctrine of those in the northern part of Nigeria? I don't know. your guess is as good as mine. Because Babangida and MK Abiola were good friends. They consulted each other. He knew that Abiola was going to become the president because everybody voted for Abiola. But could it be that message came from the OIC, even though a lot of us were linking the annulment to the Western agenda? Most of the time, we push every agenda to the West, even though we cannot overrule that. Some say that Abiola asking for money of reparation was the reason why he was never going to be the president. But what about the OIC? How comfortable were they for the Yoruba Muslim man to become the president with that ideology and the vision to transform Nigeria into an Islamic state will continue? Your guess is as good as mine. Today, we are just doing a review of everything that can give us why is Miyetti Allah a very powerful organization in today's Nigeria, even though they were not accepted for more than 9 years. They never start up. They didn't even accept until more than 9 years, because 9 years was when they started. Then if we had another 8 years to 9, then you are looking at about almost 17 years. So it took Miyetti Allah that we are now seeing today, the same Miyetti Allah that is now becoming the voice of the Fulanis. It took them 17 years in Nigeria before we were accepting them to become an advocate for Fulanis. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. They started or founded these Miyetti Allah in 1970. Take it back to 9 years after. That was when they started legally operational work in Nigeria. 9 years after that, it took another 8 years before we were accepted. I mean, what do we mean by acceptance? We didn't see them as people to advocate for a particular ethnic group that we never know, because Fulani was never part of Nigeria. Fulani was not part of the Nigeria that was created. But yet, Fulani has now become the most powerful individuals and organization in Nigeria because they're using terrorism to capture as many parts of Nigeria, even though the Yorubas says it is not what it is. Rather, we are sitting back and attacking Oloye Sunday Omadeyemo Igboho for challenging the same criminals, for challenging those that wanted to eliminate we, the Yoruba people. Rather, we were more interested to give and endorse the Fulanis. Today, they've set up their own vigilante groups that are all fully going to be armed to teeth. That means Fulani Miyetti Allah set up in Nasarawa yesterday. Sitting was the military, the Nigerian Air Force, and they will be using full ammunition, according to them, to protect themselves from people like us or the other ethnic groups in Nigeria. Even though they have been the ones that are attacking and killing innocent Nigerians, there's so much evidence to that. But let's complete the names of the countries and members of the OIC. Burkina Faso became a member in 1974. Republic of Tajikistan became a member in 1992. Republic of Turkey being a member since 1969. Turkmenistan became a member since 1992. Republic of Chad became a member since 1969. I want us to keep an eye on the word 1969. So it seems that there's something that synchronized 1969. If I make a T, I'll be nice. T. Thank you. 1969 seems to be a lot of numbers. I'm going to find out when Nigeria actually became a member. Then I'll know what to say next on that. Republic of Togo, 1997. Republic of Tunisia, again 1969. The People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, 1969. Republic of Djibouti, 1978. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, 1969. Republic of Senegal, 1969. Sudan, 1969. Syria, Arab Republic, member since 1972. Republic of Suriname, 1996. Republic of Sierra Leone, member since 1972. Republic of Somalia since 1969. Republic of Iraq, a member since 1975. Sultan of Oman, member since 1972. Republic of Gabon, member since 1974. Republic of Gambia since 1974. Republic of Guyana, 1998. Republic of Guinea, 1969. Republic of Guinea-Bissau, 1974. State of Palestine, 1969. United Union of Comoros, 1976. Republic of Kyrgyzstan, 1992. State of Qatar, 1972. Republic of Kyrgyzstan, 1995. Republic of Cameroon, 1974. Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, 2001. State of Kuwait, 1969. Republic of Lebanon, 1969. Arab Republic of Egypt, 1969. Kingdom of Morocco, 1969. Islamic Republic of Mauritania, 1969. Republic of Mozambique, 1994. Republic of Niger, 1969. Republic of Yemen, 1969. I know you've not heard about Nigeria. Was OIC founded in 1969? Then I'll tell you when Nigeria became a member. So let's check again. Was OIC founded in 1969? Okay. The OIC was established by the decision of the First Islamic Summit Conference held in Rabat on the 22nd, 25th of September 1969. Upon the reactions of Islamic world provoked by the arson attack against Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holy site in Islam and located in Israel, and the fight going on in Israel, I can tell you that is sinister. I'm hearing a different thing, that Israel is trying to wipe off that particular mosque or trying to retake it back because it has a lot of significant and spiritual meaning. So we can see that the world, it's going to be unbalanced because of so many things. But the reason why we have now confirmed that OIC was set up was upon the reaction of the Islamic world that were provoked by the arson attack of what is known as the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Al-Aqsa Mosque is the third holy site of Islam and is located in Israel. The Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem is the third holiest site in Islam. The compound is held in esteem by the entire Muslim community due to its history and as a place of worship by many prophets such as Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wasalam, Dawudu, David, Sulaiman, Solomon, Elias, Elijah, and Isa, Jesus. Go and call your brother. I hope you're now finding things matching together. So when did Nigeria became a member of the OIC? And is there an agenda of Islamic Republic of Nigeria in the future? It might not start in one day. It might not start as something that we will be told. But with the agenda of the Fulani terrorist attack happening on a daily basis in Nigeria, evidence is now pointing that there is an agenda to convert Nigeria into Islamic Republic of Nigeria in the near future. And I'll give you an example. Should the government take over by the Fulanis, even though they've been in government, but they've not been able to achieve their full aims. We saw Buhari tried to continue what Babangida started. Nigeria became a member of the OIC in 1986. In 1986. Let's listen to the agenda that Nigeria or Buhari wants to Islamize Nigeria.
That's what I want to know if this has been an issue before now. I mean, has this been anything that, the people at the top in the military have found as a source of concern? Let me raise an instance. For instance, we know that at almost every security institution, even on the roads here in Abuja, before you can enter the same road that leads to any military institution is divided in two. There are huge barricades to prevent anybody from just entering, so to speak. This became a source of concern for the military, in terms, especially after the attacks on the police headquarters. Has this been a source of concern for for the top brass of the military to say, hey, look, if we're taking these steps to put barricades, then this is also going to be a source of concern for us. What can we do about it? Have they elevated this discussion?
At defense headquarters, every Monday, even if you go this Monday coming, you will see they're always there to discuss intelligence and security brief. We discuss all topics there, including the issue of Muslims gathering every weekend. All those barriers you see at defense headquarters. And that's why I'm talking to the media. They should go there on Friday. The barrier is no longer there. It's open because it is Jumat. And this is when they come to carry out surveillance. If you look at what happened in Mogadishu Barrack, it was the same. That was the time they went there and blasted the place and killed a lot of people. It's these same people that are allowed to have access on Fridays and become members of the mess because they are, it's a social-cultural issue. So I think we should begin to look, the Minister of Defense should put an end to this, because for 35 years of my stay in the military intelligence, it has been the case. Both naval institutions, Air Force institutions, Army institutions, even the Department of State Services. Once it's Friday, the gates are thrown open, and people come from outside, and there'll be no space. They'll be all over. If you go to Defense Headquarters on Friday, this Friday, you see them littered everywhere.
I mean, this conversation is usually quite tricky. I mean, people listening, some might take different perspectives to it, thinking, oh, is this a religious thing? Is this an ethnic thing? They ask, is it only Muslims you have in the military? Is it only people from this certain cultural, heritage that you have in the military? And I'd like us to tackle the issues. You have mentioned what you have called the core, as it were, of the problem. How do we tackle this without viewing it from a religious spectrum, an ethnic spectrum? Because well, Nigeria is quite, polarized across, these groups, ethnicity and religious. How do we tackle it without coming off as though you're inciting people, on those lines?
You see, one thing I discovered in this country is that when it comes to religion, everybody is very sensitive. But the fact I have laid bare is from the experience of 35 years of military intelligence. So I'm not coming to the air to whip up sentiments, no. I have been in the system. I work with Abacha government. I work with Babangida government. I work with Abdul Salam. I work with Yar'Adua Obasanjo. As a core insider of operations, I belong to a group of people that you are not supposed to see, people that you are not supposed to hear. Because we have 3 classes of military officers. I belong to the worst group. I lost my family because my family does not have to know where I have been, where I've gone, and I cannot talk. I've seen Colonel here, I've seen Stan Lambo. Some of us belong to that group that we are not supposed to be seen, and we are not supposed to be heard. The truth I'm telling you now is not about sentiments. Is that there are a group of people in this country that feels that this country should be Islamized.
Let's pause there. Who are these group of people that wants Nigeria to be Islamized? Are there those from the OIC? Are they just the Buhari, the Babangida? Let's hear from this man as well. It's only 1 minute, 9 seconds, but unfortunately, we've not been able to track him for the last 3 years, whether he's still alive. But this video was shot somewhere in London. But let's hear what he has to say. While that is still loading, because there's a lot of videos that we have on our phones, bear with us. Once again, we need your assistance, financially assistant. And each time I come out and I'm stressing on these, it's just to enable us to continue to fight these properly. We need a financial assistant to be able to challenge and bring down Nigeria peacefully as much as possible. Because if my people knows what I'm talking about, millions of Yoruba people are not online. The little bit of you watching are just the same set of people. I need to target a different set of people that are not online. Those that do not have access to 24 hours electricity. Those that do not have a smartphone. These are the people that we need to target now. Most of you online already have an idea what Nigeria is all about. Those at home are the one that we need to reach out to right now. And like I said, we are not putting all our strategy on the social media of what we want to do from my platform to educate them so that we can eradicate Nigeria from their mind. But without funding, I'm sorry, we cannot do anything more than what we are doing right now. This, what we are doing, will not stop. As I speak to you, we are going to be increasing more of our broadcast. Some of you must have been seeing a test transmission. We've set up another transmission from somewhere outside here in another country where my team will be reporting from from there. So that means that in the next couple of days, you'll be hearing more of other koikimedia transmission. Some of you must have seen those transmission tests. That transmission test will continue until we are able to set up and go straight into it. We plan that in the next couple of weeks or month precisely, we should be able to have koikimedia running for 6 hours non-stop. We can't do that without funding. I cannot have koikimedia running 6 hours when I don't have the money. I need the money to be able to do that. That means we can have many people speaking on different platforms of koikimedia, telling the same thing that I'm talking about, whether it is myself or some of my other teams. We are ready. The question is, are the Yoruba people ready to fund it? That's just the question. The plan is at least we want koikimedia to be on air 6 hours non-stop, minus my own 3 hours, making it 9 hours. We can do it. We can split the 6 hours between hours of 7 in the morning up till in the evening. And by the time you add my own 3 hours, that means we have an operation of 9 hours. Any media today in the world that we're living today are all operating 24 hours. We are not operating 24 hours yet. We can do it. We have the capacity to do it. I have the team that are ready to serve, but we don't have the finance to be able to do it. The question is, are you going to fund it? Or should we just continue like this and then It will then depend on how soon Nigeria will dissolve. Do not ask me that question anymore, since we are not ready to go for war with Nigeria, since we don't want to be out on the street to protest, since we are not ready to do all that. I can only continue to educate my people and prepare their mind. That might take some time. It might take years. We might not be out of Nigeria for the next 10 years if we do not push things right now. We will be in Nigeria, and the question is, it will be much more difficult should the next president come from the north while we are not yet almost ready to cut out of Nigeria. I want us to take note of this word again. Should we not push right now more funding, resources, push everything into it so that the next president, we will not be waiting for that, because should Bola Tinubu complete his tenure and we are still in Nigeria and the next northerner comes in, Nigeria will complete its final Islamization. It has been there. Let's listen to other section from this man.
Because before then, if you were a Muslim, you went, say, to the Tiv area, what would happen? You'd be dead. Under the British, you could go as a Muslim trader and you could live and you could spread your message of Islam. So the British enabled Islam to spread in Nigeria.
The British enabled Islam to spread in Nigeria. Let me see if I can send it straight to my other phone so that we can hear it properly through the speaker. All this is happening. So while I'm doing that, let me continue back with former Navy Chief Kunle Olawumi spoke clearly without mixing words that there is an agenda for Islamization. The Nigerian military barracks is open every Friday. I don't know whether it's still the same thing now that we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the office. But he told us that the office of Buhari allowed Islamization to continue just as Babangida did it. Let's play more from there. And the copyright to that video is to Channels Television.
This country should be Islamized. This is a fact. I say you want me to start mentioning names of people in this government that we have interrogated. I was a member of an interrogation team, and I've interrogated a very high-ranking member of this government in 2007, 2008 on the issue of Boko Haram. I interrogated him. He's in this government right now. And what was the issue? Boko Haram. And this senior officer.
Remember that the former communication minister, Issa Patami, just last week said on the social media, he spoke with a friend to give 50 million naira to enable Fulani terrorists to release those that were kidnapped in Nigeria. You'll be wondering if this is a joke, but it is not a joke. This is happening in Nigeria. We are now even raising, I'm here now raising money that I'm not getting. I'm asking people to donate. Some have donated, and we appreciate those that have done so. But many are just not ready to fund it. They say that because we have funded some money before, we don't have any reason to fund it again. We appreciate those of you that are funding this movement in the last 3 years. And some of you that have stopped, please do not. This is not the time to stop. We are in a serious danger. Some of you have witnessed the aftermath. My team will be out again in the next 2 hours at the Ibadan, Bodija bomb blast. They'll be reporting from there again today. I've told them to go back again today to report from there. So in the next 1 hour precisely, you will get a signal from that location. What happened at Bodija is just a child's play. there is now the skill of this Islamic agenda to wipe us off. You can go and look at it even from those that are spiritual leaders. I've listened to a prophet that says that the attack on Ibadan would not happen because the Yorubas, gods, will not leave us alone. But should that attack have happened, even if, from what we are also hearing, that Tinubu would have attended the birthday of Bisi Akande in Ibadan, many Yoruba leaders would have been there. Many of them would have been wiped out, even though we might not agree with them in terms of what we are saying because they are not listening to us. But does that mean that we should allow Fulani terrorists to overrun us? Even though if they killed all our leaders, they might then capture me and you and convert Nigeria into the Islamic State. You might say there will never be an Islamic country, but British also pushed that agenda. Let's listen to this man. He knew about the thief. He knew what the British does. This interview he granted, and we're trying to track this man. We still don't know how, whether he's alive or he's dead. It would have been nice to hear more of what he knows, but let's listen to him.
Because before then, if you were a Muslim, you went, say, to the Tiv area, what would happen? You'd be dead. Under the British, you could go as a Muslim trader and you could live and you could spread your message of Islam. So the British enabled Islam to spread in Nigeria and the British stopped the spread of Christianity.
The British stopped the spread of Christianity, but allowed the spread of Islam. That is another angle. You can see that we are all in danger, yet we are all living in denial as if it is not happening. But we can see, for those of you that are watching me on the broadcast on the software, you can see that in our eyes, the whole of Bodija has become like Gaza that we see on the social media on a daily basis. This is not a movie shoot. This is not a Photoshop. What you're watching, for those of you that are watching us on our software through the YouTube and the Facebook, you will see that clearly. My question is, what do we do? Is there an agenda for Islamization of Nigeria? Oh, we cannot even hear that British or Britain allow the spread of Islam. What kind of Islam are we talking about? Is it the Islam that is moderate, that allows and enables us to go to education and make life benefits for every Nigerian? What kind of Islam did British allowed? Once again, my name is OLAMILEKAN. 11:35 is a Saturday broadcast. And like I said, I'm not going to mention anybody's name because I'm documenting this particular program. It will last for 3 hours. We are just about an hour plus into the conversation. Your funding, we appreciate, but please dip your hands in your pocket and fund this media. We are need to work back with our people quickly so that they can be aware of the agenda that is being made on us. Let's listen one more time to this.
Because before then, if you were a Muslim, you went, say, to the Tiv area, what would happen? You'd be dead. Under the British, you could go as a Muslim trader and you could live and you could spread your message of Islam. So the British enabled Islam to spread in Nigeria and the British stopped the spread of Christianity because Lugard kept missionaries out of the north. He only let missionaries go to the parts that were not under Muslim rule, like the Jos Plateau. So the Christian church in the Middle Belt thrived in areas that have never been conquered by the House of Fulani. Why are there huge areas of the north of Nigeria depopulated today? The answer is jihad. Because those who weren't enslaved by the House of Fulani or conquered by the House of Fulani, they either died by the sword or they fled to the hills, like the plateau, like the Goza Hills in Bornu. And in those hills, when I was there in the 19th...
Maybe you should listen to it again. Jihad. The word jihad, the word Fulanese, the word Miyetti Allah, the advocates group for these monsters. Many Nigerians love analysis, but they don't want the solution to stop it. They want people to come out and talk about it. But when we say we should stop it, they are also one of those people that say, no, we can't stop it. We can just manage it. The question is, Dr. Oloyegbowo came out, talked about these atrocities that was penetrating the Yoruba land. These atrocities that was used against us. It was the same Yoruba people that attacked him, that told us that Igboho was fighting for his own selfish gain. He wasn't fighting for anything more than his own selfish gain. And some of us started wondering, what did they mean by that? Because what we know Igboho was fighting for was to stop the same Fulani agenda, the same Islamization agenda from Okeogun to Akure, to Kwara, to Kogi, to even outside of the Yoruba land. 1,000 years from today, and maybe some of you don't know, we would be conquered because we will not be able to walk with the Fulanese. Their agenda is different. They have a different agenda, and that agenda is to Islamize every single one of us. We've had it from the former Navy Commodore Olakunle Olawumi, but Igboho came out. But Igboho has not even done up to what the Miyetti Allah have done. Remember that this particular association were not accepted in Nigeria for more than 17 years. We didn't accept them because we didn't trust them. We didn't know their agenda. But Babangida came in. Babangida joined OIC in 1987. Babangida allowed the Miyetti Allah to become a very strong advocate for the Fulanese. Now, let's go back to that article that I was about to read earlier, how Nigeria joined OIC. Time flies. It has been 32 years already. 32 years since generally known rental criers called Nigerian press began an unwarranted brouhaha over this country's membership of Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC, in January 1986. I want us to take note of that January again. January was when Nigeria was amalgamated. Does that have any significant or spiritual meaning to it? That incident is another conspicuous goof mischievously exhibited in a press conference recently by a group that called itself National Christian Elders Forum. They said it's a goof, mischievously exhibited. So the National Christian Elder Forum were concerned. Why would Nigeria become a member of OIC in a country that is meant to be secular? We are meant to be Muslims and Christians and traditionalists. Yet, we have pushed the agenda of one group to cover the rest of us. It was the president or the dictator as at the time. So, it is, however, on record that the baseless press conference turned out to be an exercise of self-ridicule. Like some of you might say that I'm doing again today. Remember that they already told us that again, according to this article, that the National Christian Elders Forum, NCEF, were goof, mischievously exhibited in a press conference. So let's read what happened. Excuse me. It was in the same press conference that the National Christian Elders Forum display its ignorance by maliciously quoting a shamelessly fabricated speech credited to Sir Ahmadu Bello, the first and the only premier of northern Nigeria, but created and forced on us by the British. Nigeria's membership of OIC, although the message column had punctuated the anatomy of the fabricated speech upon which the National Christian Elders Forum, NCEF, ignorantly relied to dish out blatant lies to Nigerians in its press conference, exposing the real fact about Nigeria's membership of OIC is also necessary here, not only to educate Nigerians who knew little about that episode, but also to further expose the hypocrisy of the so-called National Christian Elder Forum. What was also amazing is that the National Christian Elder Forum's claim of Islamization over Nigerians' membership of the OIC is that the highly venerated General Yakubu Gowon, who is listed as a member of that self-appointed body, could not uphold his charisma by cautioning other members of the group against bringing themselves to public ridicule. That shows the hypocrisy of some Nigerians of today who are claiming to be leaders, one capacity or the other. Gowon's role in the OIC. While the press brouhaha continued to sound loud over Nigerians' membership of OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, not many Nigerians know the role of General Yakubu Gowon in the historical episode Hush Nigeria into that organization. But as a charismatic statesman that is perceived to be one would have expected General Gowon to have openly told Nigerians about his role that the controversy venture background information. The Organization of Islamic Conference, generally known as OIC, was established in 1969 when the General Yakubu Gowon was Nigeria's head of state. Nigeria was then embroiled in a civil war that began in 1987, ended in 1970 after 30 months. In his desperation to win that war, General Gowon, as a commander-in-chief of Nigerian armed forces, took certain steps that later turned out to be generators of unbridled controversies. One of such steps was to take Nigeria into an organization of a group of countries called OIC. Now you can start multiplying, minus, add, and remove. So we can now see that the clear picture that General Gowon facilitated the work towards Nigeria becoming a member of the OIC. Maybe, quote and unquote, maybe Nigeria would have been a member of the OIC should Nigeria have not gone into a civil war in 1967. Maybe we would have been a full member since then. But Nigeria was already engaging a civil war backed by the British government against those that wanted to be out of Nigeria or for some other reasons, according to the history that we've known surrounding the civil war of that time. Many Nigerians do not have all this information. How do we get this information to them? How do we prepare them? Is it just online? What about the offline? There's a lot of work to be done. You can see why Nigeria will be very difficult to break if we do not get this message to our people as quickly as possible so that we prepare their mind. My name is OlamilekaN, 11:47 a.m. Saturday. A very beautiful weather outside, but extremely cold. January the 20th, 2024. Happy New Year. If you're new to this program, you're new to this platform, subscribe, share the program, love, and remember to donate. It is voluntary. I'm going to go one step back. The Organization of Islamic Conference, generally known as OIC, was established in 1969 after the Alaska Mosque We told you that earlier in the program. When General Yakubu Gowon was himself Nigeria's head of state, Nigeria was then already embroiled in a civil war. So 2 years before the civil war, maybe Nigeria would have also been a member from 1969. The civil war lasted for 30 months. In his desperation to win that war, General Yakubu Gowon, as the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, took certain steps that later turned out to be generators of unbrainly controversies. One of such steps was taking Nigeria into an organization of a group of countries called OIC, although in observer status. So we have been a member, just an observer. We have some observer on the United Nations today. They are not full countries, but they are sitting there as an observer. Another was the ceding of the Bakassi area of Nigeria to Cameroon in the same year, 1969, in exchange for the latter country's support for Nigeria. But we are more concerned about the OIC here. Remember, I'm broadcasting from home with my beautiful family, and I love their little, sound at the background, but they are aware that I'm doing a program, and do not worry, they are not going to raise that voice more than that. I hope you're enjoying their voices as well. I call them the Omo Odua. It was during the Nigerian Civil War years in 1967, 1970. Remember 1970, I want us to remember that we are still on the Miyetti Allah. So I will continue to link back years and dates to Miyetti Allah if I come across them. Miyetti Allah was founded in 1970. As of that time, Yakubu Gowon was already or still in power. So that means that Yakubu Gowon must have also given the all clear for the Miyetti Allah to be established. But they were just that they needed more person or individuals to push. And Babangida completed that for them in 1987. Once again, a very good morning. If you're new to the platform, share the program. Many of you are not liking this program. I can tell from the numbers of those watching and those that are not liking the program. Not too sure why. And like I always say, if we're not live, I don't know what you'll be watching. You'll probably be engaged with some other things. But when we are live, we ask and please say to you all, share the program. Very, very important, because this is the only way we can free ourselves from Nigeria. That is for those of us that want to be free. For those of you that doesn't want to be free, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope the Bodija attack that has become the Gaza of Nigeria. Some of you at the background will see those images as I keep changing there between the Miyetti Allah that have now established their own vigilante groups. They've become so powerful that they've now set up a vigilante group yesterday in Nasarawa. I'll be telling you a little bit about that in the course of the program. IGBOHO has not even done up to that. Yet, the same Fulani gave the all clear for the assassination on his life. He was sent out of his homeland. Two of his, not just friends, family, were murdered right in his house. 12 innocent were moved. Some spent month and month in the custody of the DSS. Yet, the same Fulani terrorists invaded Kuje prison, free those that the Nigerians say we have hold on because they committed crime. Even some, I'm going to come back to this article. The reason why we're going to start linking some of these as we go into the program, so that as it comes to my heart, I do not have to forget anything. Let me remind you again, Mdeba has now become member of the constabulary of the Nigerian police. First, for me to give you an understanding of that, I have to first look at what is the meaning of constabulary. Constabulary, according to the English dictionary. The word, once again, a very good morning. Please, I've increased the volume a little bit. I guess it might have been low earlier for those of you watching us on all the other platforms, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear on all the platforms. Some of you might not know, it is cheaper for those of you in Nigeria to listen than to watch. You will save a bit of more data by watching or listening rather. So you can listen through what we call the mixed LR. At the moment, I have 8 of our comrades that are listening. They can hear me crystal clear. It is also not taking much of your megabyte. You might just want to listen to that and then plug your ears in and do other things. You don't really have to see my face. I'm talking about those of you in Nigeria. But if you're okay just watching my face, that is fine. The diaspora, I know you have the means to support, and we hope you will support. Dip your hands. You might say, but we've been supporting. I think we're getting tired. We will not be tired until we dissolve Nigeria till the last day. Then the Yoruba government in the future will take responsibility of so many things that we cannot come out and say we need money for. But right now, we don't have a Yoruba country yet. Do not be in illusion that there's a country called Yoruba country. There's no country called Yoruba country. We don't have a passport. We don't have our own currency. We don't have our own military. We don't have our own intelligence. We don't have our own police force. Even though the next video I'm about to play shows that Cano State is ahead of the game. They are already preparing their own criminals by converting them back into constabulary police. And from there, they'll increase their salary. They'll be paid, while many Yoruba today do not have access to work. So until we have a country of our own, then there'll be little that the media will come out and say we need money for. But until then, we would have to dip hands and fund it. BBC get paid from the TV license. So when you see BBC Yoruba in Nigeria and BBC Igbo and BBC Hausa and BBC Pidgin, remember that I am the one funding it from my TV license here in London or United Kingdom. Spelled as Constabulary or Charlie Oscar November Sarah Tango Alpha Bravo Uniform Lima Alpha Romeo Yankee. What does that mean? So we have got to a stage where in the last couple of days, we've heard from Cano, criminals, Endeba, becoming member of the police force. Yesterday in Nasarawa, we're now seeing fact that, sorry, I got to take this call. Quickly, Kilo Shale, come on, our live program. All right, just go live. Well, you don't have to be inside. You can do the live from the outside, the surrounding. So you don't have to do the live from inside there. All right, bye. All right. Sorry, that's just the koikimedia team reporting back to me in London, where this is the head office. My headquarters is here. I am not your vlogger. I am not those that cut videos. We are a media organization, fully registered, paying tax to the UK government, and it's been in operation for over a decade. The word constabulary was used by Endeba. Yesterday we saw the Miyetti Allah came out. Also, and let me give you some of the headline on the Miyetti Allah in the last couple of hours. Miyetti Allah, according to Tribune, Miyetti Allah set up Miyetti Allah security outfit, invitation to anarchy, Middle Belt leaders. The Middle Belt leaders and other groups within the Middle Belt region have described the establishment of the uniform security outfit as invitation to anarchy. The KABIRU Nigeria, to assist security agency, Miyetti Allah unveils vigilante groups in Nasarawa State. Interesting. IGBOHO has not even done up to that until his house was invaded, destroyed. Property worth billions of naira were destroyed. Millions of money from different currency were removed. We lost 2 lives, Adogon and Alhaji Fatai. The bodies have still not been recovered from the federal government of Nigeria. Leadership insecurity. Miyetti Allah unveils vigilante outfit in Nasarawa. Daily Post. Nasarawa, Miyetti Allah float vigilante group to tackle insecurity. The same criminals are trying to set up security to tackle security. Interesting. Vanguard. Miyetti Allah plans vigilante groups in Nasarawa. That was 3 days ago. Miyetti Allah, according to Daily Trust, have now launched 1,144 men vigilante group in Nasarawa State. Who is funding them? They will be armed to teeth. Who is funding them? Where are they getting their money from? Is it from the OIC? Or is it just from powerful Fulanis that support their agenda? While I am here speaking to the Yoruba to support our own agenda of the right of the Yoruba people to self-determination, we can push the message, but it seems that we don't want to fund it. Maybe you're expecting me to get funding from the Fulanis. Who is funding them? When you look at 1,000 men with AK-47, uniform, feeding, that is a lot of money running into billions of naira. Who is behind this agenda? Is it the same agenda that started in 1970 that is now becoming materialized in our eyes? Yet, many Nigerians say it's all lies. We just don't like this particular people called the Fulanis. And I'm wondering, is that what you think? Is that what you've been told? The Yorubas are the most accommodating people in the country known as Nigeria, yet we have been stabbed from behind by the same people we welcome to live with us. The British knew the end game, and that is why they never gave the late legend Obafemi Awolowo the opportunity to take the mantle to start with. They rather gave it to the northern part of Nigeria because the British knew that giving Awolowo the opportunity of what was deliberated and discussed in 1957-58 at the Lancaster House in London would give Nigeria the set goal. But the agenda was never to give Nigeria the set goal. The agenda was to set back Nigeria. And after 63 years of the failed independence, Nigeria has been as backward, and it remains so. Insecurity, Miyetti Allah unveils not just 1,000. I thought there were 1,000, but we are looking at about 4,000 member vigilante group in Nasarawa. Multiply about, I don't know the cost of the AK-47, but give and take, whatever the cost is, multiply that by 4,000. Multiply all the necessary equipment that they'll be using. The question is, what is the agenda? Let's go back again to how Nigeria became a member of the OIC. Some organization like the National Christian Elders Forum challenged it. But they were told that they can't challenge it because there was nothing wrong with it, because even Yakubu Gowon was one of those that established what we call the OIC today. My name is OLAMILEKAN. This is KOKORO, bringing the word closer to your doorstep as I continue to educate many Nigerians on the OIC, self-determination, and the reason why the union push on us will never work until there's a dissolution or a roundtable discussion on the future of Nigeria. We've heard about how Goan, just after the Civil War in 1970, approached the OIC, also walked around the Bakassi Peninsula with the Cameroon. General Goan approached demand for assistance in winning the Nigerian Civil War in the spirit of pan Pan-Africanism, which President Nasser championed at the time. Okay, I'll take that again because I went too fast. How it happened. It was during the Nigerian Civil War of 1967-1970 that General Yakubu Gowon approached his fellow military head of state in Egypt, General Gamal Abdel Nasser, who transformed himself into a civilian president in that country. General Yakubu Gowon approached the man for assistance in winning the Nigerian Civil War in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, which President Nasser championed at the time, and in addition to helping General Gowon with some sophisticated military wares. President Nasser also introduced General Gowon to OIC conference, which was established that year in 1969. In the belief that Gowon could get further help from other members of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. But seeking such help intentionally was not peculiar to Gowon. The leader of the then rebellious, according to what a rebellious eastern region then called Biafra, Lieutenant Colonel Odumagu Ojukwu, also sought and got the assistance of some countries like France, Portugal, and others in its bid to succeed in the region's secession from Nigeria. Even though the word secession is not what we should be using, it is the right to self-determination. But the media in Nigeria use that word because it suits their own narrative. Nigeria observer status in the OIC. For 17 years, Nigeria remained an observer member of the organization. That means we have been a member directly or indirectly for a very long time. Until 1986, when she regularized her membership. Yours sincerely, as the deputy foreign editor of the now defunct Concord newspaper, was one of the only 2 Nigerian journalists that covered that regularization event in Fez, Morocco. You can see the power of the social media today. You can see the influence of what it is creating in the lives of many of us that we might not understand. As at 1986, when Nigeria was becoming the member, there was less of social media activities. Even the media that should have covered the event as of that year were not available. But today, we are grateful to the way the technology has been able to be advanced so that we can be able to communicate without going through any broadcaster to tell them that we want to come on the air and speak to them. Just like many of you can do the same thing by just turning on the phone and then go live from there. Once again, my name is OlamilekaN. It's coming up to 6 minutes past 12, and this is the Saturday transmission from London as we continue to discuss the new development of the Miyetti Allah setting up 4,000 vigilante groups. I can also confirm that right now, as I speak to you, update from Ibadan. So let's listen to that, and then we come back again to our own conversation.
Different kind of activities are here. You can see we have Red Cross inside, so we are not allowed to go beyond this. We're not allowed to go beyond this.
So what we are watching, for those of us, you can watch that from the koikimedia Facebook. So there's a current development coming from Ibadan as I speak to us right now. So in case you want to watch that, you can do so by checking our social media and on Facebook, and the other videos will be uploaded on the other platforms in due course later. Remember to fund it and support it so that we can be able to continue to enjoy the best of one of the best media organizations of our time. In 1986, there was not such of a powerful media like we have today that could have challenged a lot of crime and atrocities that took place in Nigeria. But today we are grateful that we are now able to change the narratives without waiting for anyone to tell us or advise us what to do. Self-determination is not a crime. Nigeria will deserve it all depends on how soon and how quick, and we will not be pushed by any other ones. We will go in accordance to how we believe it should happen. Whoever wants to break Nigeria first should break it, but you will not push us beyond what we want to do. If they are not happy with the way we are running our own, they can break away from Nigeria ahead of us, while we will join them when it breaks. And that is for those that always try to push the narrative that the Yorubas must do as exactly as the others are doing. We will not do as they're doing. We will do as we want to do. If they like and you like, you can push it in a different narrative. The most important thing is we got to get our people ready, and that's exactly what we are doing on this platform. As I continue to monitor what is coming out of Ibadan, on my own little screen here, it looks like Gaza. Let me see if I can bring the screen to us that are watching on our other platforms. Yeah, I think I could give you some snip view of how Nigeria looks today. Bear with me quickly while I'm trying to get that. So for those of us, let's just again continue to watch from here because you don't have access to our other platforms. So I'm going to get this one quickly.
Work is being going on there, so we are not allowed to move closer.
So that is the koikimedia team reporting for me.
Only security operatives are allowed to go.
That is the platform that. So I'm going to get the audio from here. So it looks like Gaza. So that is the live video.
Don't dá sí nǹkan tí ó kàn mí
sorry,
ṣùgbọ́n tó kàn mí
I
mo
got
dá sí lórí pé
something
ọmọ
there.
Yorùbá ni mí.
Take that down quickly.
Bí ìjọba bá wà
I'm going to come back to
tí ò
Oloye. So what you're watching right now, and I think I could do the same thing here as well for the benefit. So I'm just going to focus this here alone because you cannot see what is happening on the screen there. So what you're watching is the atrocity committed by the foreigners in Yoruba land that led to multiple blasts of homes of our loved ones, our brothers, our uncles back in Nigeria. And we pray for those that have died. And we hope that, you see, people are still saying that it's a bomb, even though the governor says it's not a bomb. So bear with me. I'm trying to bring the screen to those of us that are also here. So while we're watching that, so what you're watching right now, again, is the development coming out of Nigeria where our people, so again, the images is coming for the benefit of those of you that are watching on the software. At least we can do that. So right there, you can see while I keep this one like this. So this is Gaza that you're watching right now. But many Yoruba people say it is not Gaza. I hope that we wake up from our slumber. I hope that we wake up from the reality that the Yoruba land was attacked by the Fulani terrorists and they've destroyed multiple of what should never have been destroyed. Do we do nothing or do we activate? What we can do is to use media to bring it to the notice of our people as quickly as possible, which is exactly what koikimedia does on a daily basis. It's costing me a lot of money to get this team out every day. It's costing us a lot of money to operate both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. What are you going to do as people to support the vision and the mission of this platform? Do we do nothing? Or do we also come out and support and sponsor it? So I'm going to leave this screen running for some time so that you can see what we have been talking about for a very long time, that we are all in danger. But many of you say we are not in danger. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute my volume from here. We don't need to hear the volume. I just want us to keep an eye on the images, the videos, while we continue with the program. As we say, I was talking about the constabulary, and while that is going on, sorry, I have to, keep myself back here. Let's now listen to, Dambaba, whatever they're called, from Kano State.
Popularly known as
Wait, Ndeba. Let's get the speaker up and running, and let's listen to them. Once again, my name is OLAMILEKAN. Once again, we're doing our best with the little resources that we have. Let's go further.
State are here to embrace the amnesty initiative introduced by the Nigeria Police Force in the state. About 3 months ago, the Kano State Police Command invited some identified individuals believed to be behind the escalation of thuggery and other heinous crimes in the state for dialogue. The meeting yielded a positive response as some of the thugs embraced the initiative. Among the 222 repentant thugs, 50 of them drawn from Dala, Fege, Ungugu, Cano Municipal, and Gwale local government area of the state, having completed a 2-month intake training as members of the Nigerian Police Special Constabulary, were the
constabulary. I was giving us what is the meaning of the word? A police force covering a particular area or city. That is the meaning of constabulary. Let's come back again to that.
They pledge to promote peace in the state and promise not to go back into thuggery.
I am among the 50 people who were trained and absorbed into the Nigerian police force, and I am prepared to play my part to ensure that Kano is peaceful. We will go around the state and continue to preach peace to the people so as to keep the state safe.
While welcoming the repentant thugs into the society, the Commissioner of Police, CP Mohammed Gume, debunked reports making round that the police is recruiting thugs as its personnel. He says the amnesty initiative is only aimed at sustaining peace in the state.
As of today, the police command has received a total of 222 influential youth and are committed to crime prevention duties with the police to fish out violent criminals among them, notorious thugs, popularly known as Ndaba, who over the years engaged in supremacy conflict, Padandaba, as we call it.
The governor of the state, Abba Yusuf, who gave a rousing welcome to the repentant thugs, urged them to be good ambassadors of the state.
From the day they surrendered, they have been subjected to series of reformatory process. They have undergone lectures from psychologists and other experts in human behaviorism. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are going to give them all the necessary.
Popularly known as Ndaba in Kano State.
Let's leave that and now let's listen to this.
Religious Islamic element in the Yoruba ethnic group to use them to destabilize that mighty people who have built empires like Oyo and other places long before anything. But they are looking for some weak elements. Like Tunumbu is a weak element. People think he's powerful, but he's a weak element in the Yoruba war. These are the weak elements they want to use to be able to push the Islamic agenda. People have been telling you that Islamic agenda is a lie. No, it's true. I can tell you that I was born a Muslim. My people have been Muslim since the 7th century. I'm a Madinga. And we have been Muslim. There is nobody in my ethnic group who is Christian. All my people have been Muslim. And I studied Islam in northern Nigeria. And I'm telling you, the agenda is to push that country toward Islamic agenda or destroy it completely. So to your question, I will tell you that Nigeria does not have a bright future for now. It doesn't have a bright future for now. The elements that are in the north, and most of them are receiving grants. Some of them, even in university, they are getting grants from this Qatar, and all the extreme Islamic groups are giving them money. And they are building, their power is increasing day by day in the political system, They are even creating billionaires that eventually tomorrow they want to control Western part of Nigeria. The East a little bit stubborn for them. Eastern Nigeria is stubborn. That's why they are isolating them. The isolation of so-called Igbo, it's not because Igbo hate Nigeria. Igbos are the most Nigerian than any Nigerian. They are every part of Nigeria you find them. They have their own problem for sure, like every African group. But the issue, they are not the problem. But they are acting a little bit stubborn to the Islamic agenda. So they have to be isolated. And to do that, you need one of the most...
Well, you might say it is not true, but it is true, and there is evidence to that. This is another evidence that you're watching right now. For those of you that are watching it on the, if you want to see what is happening, you got to go on my YouTube channel, or you have to go on my Facebook. You can see the background of what Ibadan looks like after the terrorist attack. You can hear the people on the ground. I mean, if I'm outside Nigeria and I'm telling you it's a bomb attack and you disagree with me, those in Nigeria right now, right in Ibadan, are saying that we are all in the bomb attack. So share this program is important. We're still live from Ibadan, where my team is currently there. Fund us so that we can do more and we can be able to start more programs as well. We pray for everyone that lost their lives there. Let's listen to this woman that cried out after a Fulani man went into their house again in the southwest, I guess in Ekiti last week, trying to steal or kidnap a young girl. Let's listen to that.
We have issue at time here. We are able to see one kidnapper this morning. This morning, just now. Interrogate. Mommy yẹn dà, mommy tán gùn yẹn dà. Ṣé inú àpò tó pọ́nmọ yẹn sí rèé? Ẹ mú àpò yẹn, evidence ni àpò yẹn, ẹ mú àpò yẹn wá, ẹ mú wá. Ẹ lọ fún kó mu dání. Ọ́físà, ẹ jẹ́ kó má kò yẹn dání, Ó yá má kò yẹn dání fara. Ó ti dá bẹ́ẹ̀ sà. Kidnapper ni o, kidnapper. Ní area New Stadium. Má ronú, ibẹ̀ láti mú o. Ọmọ tó gbé sínú àkórè o. Ọmọ ẹ wo ìyá ọmọ rẹ léyìí, ó ti ṣe ìyá ọmọ léṣe, òun rèé o. Grandma, Èkó náà ti wá. Àpò tó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ yẹn ló jí ọmọ yẹn gbé sínú ẹ̀. Àpò tó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ yẹn. Àwọn Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn ti mú nísìnyí. Ó ti mú. Haúsá ni o, Haúsá ni. Ó jí ọmọ yẹn gbé sínú àpò, ọmọ yẹn bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní kígbe. Àpò ọwọ́ ẹ̀ tó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ yẹn.
Fund this media so that we can keep these images alive in the eyes of the people. How do people know that all this is happening? I can do a best presentation, I can talk about it, but if we do not get to the bottom of our people on the ground, we will just be shouting Yoruba nation, no going back, but it is not going to go back, but it will be delayed because our people are not understanding the agenda of the Islamization. So if you're watching us on the software where we are streaming from, the reason why we split the software, is because the machine that I use has broken down. It's cost me £3,000. We've not been able to use it for some time now. We've repaired it, but it's still with the engineer. And that means that all the broadcasts is not synchronizing together. We have them all in different loops, but we are still managing the two laptops that we have, but they are not as powerful enough to synchronize all the broadcasts in one situation. Is either we buy a new desktop that will be able to do the operation work, but we need the money to do that. To be able to see things, hear things clearly, please support this media. While all that images is still rolling with our team, let's see if we can release the audio from Ibadan right now. My team is on Okada. You can see they're working out. There are two of them on the ground right now. And what they're doing is they're moving around, live transmission, live broadcasting, the way we've told them that we want to see the views. This is what Ibadan looks like. Let me see if I can give you guys, let's see if we can give you those images as we have it here as well. So this is what it looks like this morning. Once again, we need to equip my team on the ground. Every single one of them should have a motorbike. That is the easiest way to get information when things break. We need to buy at least 5 Okada. I need 5 Okada for my team. All this is money. Each Okada costs about 300 or 400. I don't know how much it costs now, about 350,000 naira. I need to buy 5. I need each one in each state. So, I don't know. So, what you're watching right now is the koikimedia team right now. We're trying our best with the little resources that we have to continue to broadcast. If you can buy Okada for us, buy it, give it to us. We need Okada, we need a car. We need things to be able to move, especially when things are breaking. We want to be there first hand to capture it. So I'm going to leave those images to roll until we can then continue with our own broadcasting back here in London. So right now, we are connected to the koikimedia team in Ibadan that are giving us the report on the latest of what has happened. I guess this is the day 4 of the Bodija bomb blast. So let me close some of these because it will be too much, because this laptop is not very powerful. So let's close that. So a lot of things were affected. It looks like Gaza. So while we're still waiting for the signal to come back, I'd like to appreciate the koikimedia team that are working back to back with the little resources that we have. We want to buy 5 brand new Okada. If we can buy it for us, I will appreciate. Let us have them so that we can be able to use it on the ground, because Okada is the only mode of transportation that can move swiftly to anywhere within any attack or any information that we want to give to you. So once again, you're watching the koikimedia team. There are 2 of them. As you can see, we're making sure so that their safety is very, very important. So one is riding the Okada while the other is broadcasting behind the seat. So God bless the koikimedia team. And like we said, we're hosting meeting every week until the next month of Oloye's mother burial, which the koikimedia team is working on. We need to send more stuff to Nigeria from here. We need your support, financial support, very, very important. So while we are still going to leave that, I'm going to mute again. If you want to be watching the full report, you can go to koikimedia Facebook while you'll be able to watch that. Let's now give you, what is the agenda? Did Buhari play the best role, while he was in government? Let's hear from a security analyst that told us what Buhari did or never did. And I'm going to stand up on my seat. I wish I could, okay, maybe I could just leave this like that so that you can still see something. Yeah, so that's what you can see. At least, you won't be missing out. Those of you on the MixLR, those of you on the Twitter space, we appreciate everyone. Like I said, this is not a calling program. Neither is it anything more than just to educate us. So let's play this while I'm going to stand up on my seat, and I'm going to come back once again. Shout out to every one of you this morning, and I hope the weekend is great on your other side.
I would say I agree with the opinion that General Buhari in the last 8 years or thereabout did virtually nothing, and I mean virtually nothing, in our fight against terrorism. If anything, he promoted and enhanced our hardship as far as the fight against terrorism was concerned. It's unfortunate that we're talking about our #1 citizen as a then, within the period of the last 8 years, a period which I refer to that Nigeria had no political leader. We saw all the lines of actions taken by the, political strategic level of decision making. We saw all the lines of action taken even from the presidency. We saw how ministers who had business or things to do with terrorists were made to remain in their positions as ministers. One was even in charge of our entire national data. We could go on and on and on. We allowed undue sentiments right from the presidency to be visited in our alleged purported plan or action against terrorism. You could read religion, you could read tribalism, you could read ethnicity, and so on. It's unfortunate. And at the subnational level, we had governors, especially up north where I come from, under that administration, that had all sorts of romance and unholy relationship with terrorism, degenerating to a situation where some of them were even talking of amnesty. It was shocking to some of us. Amnesty for who? You tell me they are repentant terrorists. Repentant from what? We are soldiers. Our duty is not to come here and grant repentance. Our duty is to hasten your appointment with God, to heaven or hell, where he will grant you penance. So, for us to be bringing large number of men from the forest who hitherto were armed and taking on fellow Nigerians, then on the appearance of soldiers, they drop their weapon and you are compelled as a professional to take them PWs and you bring them back to us and say they are repentant what? And then you give their godfathers sitting in government houses to begin to talk about amnesty and even referring us to how amnesty was granted to some chaps way back in the what's his name? Yeah, President Yar'Adua in the creeks. It's unfortunate. So now we have a new administration in place. In the last 6 or 7 months, I have not seen a change, so to speak, from what has been happening in the last 8 years. We will hope that the president now is not listening to some ill advice coming in from some elements or people who have sympathy with the last administration to him as to how to fight terrorism. We have an ample opportunity now to change the guard in how we fight terrorism. We should not. I appeal to my colleagues in the military. I understand very much what the rules of international law of war says concerning PWs and so on. I must tell you, gentlemen, if we've got to fight this war and come out of it unscathed and make sure that we don't eventually leave this war for our grandchildren to fight continually because of our attitude, then we've got to face this war and face it with all the brutes it calls for. Face it with all the seriousness it calls for. Absolutely. And not to start heaping PWs here and there. The more PWs we gather, the more we are heaping up
a reserve force for belligerents who tomorrow will face our children. Whether we want to accept it or not, that is the bitter truth.
Thank you for
Simple.
You've had I'm coming. You've heard from the security in Nigeria, and we have just about 40 minutes to the end of this program. It won't go more than 3 hours as usual. The broadcast from Ibadan just ended. We will be doing the continuity of where we are from here. Let's go back to, we now find out that Goan pushed Nigeria into the OIC. By going to Egypt for assistance. We were there for 17 years until 1986 when we became a full members. Only 2 newspapers attended that event. Oh, I'm told Okada is 900,000. Oh, thanks so much for that. I didn't even realize the price of it. I just said, probably looking at the price 2 years ago. Wow. So that means if we need 5 Okadas, you can multiply that and see why we say we need a lot of money. So how are we going to get this money? I don't know, but we hope that our listeners will dip their hands in their pocket and support the vision and the mission of what we are doing on this platform. Thanks so much for that update. I didn't realize that Okada is now 900,000. I think I was looking at the price of 3 years ago when we brought some Okada during the movement. Yours sincerely, as the deputy foreign editor of the now defunct Concord newspaper, was one of the only 2 Nigerian journalists. So we only had 2 Nigerian journalists that covered how Nigeria became a member of the OIC. Is that not something to be concerned that out of all the medias in Nigeria then, only 2 was granted access to such an event in Morocco? The other Nigerian journalist was Alhaji Lai Tala, who was then the group news editor of the same Concord newspaper. Before then, Nigeria had been severely pressurized by the organization to regularize her membership. By then, her observer status, after a decade, had been embarrassingly become a matter of suspicion to the other members of the organization. And in 1985, it was given an ultimatum of 1 year to either regularize her membership of that organization or get out of the group. If she had failed to regularize her membership by the organization when she did in 1986, she would have been expelled and disgraced out of that body, and that would have amounted to a public diplomatic ridicule in the comic of nations. The summary is that it was General Yakubu Gowon, a Christian, as Nigerian head of state, that took Nigeria into OIC, and not the self-styled evil genius General Ibrahim Babangida, as often ignorantly reported by the Nigerian press. And if the organization is really about Islamization, as often claimed by some ignorant bigots, what would countries like Cameroon, Uganda, Mozambique, Gabon, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, and several others be doing in it? Question mark. Over to the National Christian Elder Forum. Islam in African Conference. One of the allegations of Islamization of Nigeria by the National Christian Association Forum was the conference named Islam in Africa and hosted in Nigeria by the city of Abuja in 1986. That was the year that Nigerian National Mosque, Abuja, was commissioned. Many African Muslim leaders who attended the commission were so impressed that they officiously proposed an annual conference that could unite African Muslims in the practice of their religion as a way of checking fanaticism that could breed terrorism. Today, terrorism is almost all over the country. That conference was not an excuse to Muslims. Many African Christian leaders, including some members of the so-called National Christian Elder Forums, were invited. They attended it with the expression of their opinions and advice. If the conference was truly aimed at Islamizing Nigeria as maliciously alleged, would Christian leaders have been invited? You see, what they do is they keep saying that, oh, but just like this narrative, this is like another narrative. And this narrative is just to say, but they're Christian in Nigeria. You know, we invite them. We are living together. But we know that that is not the case. And that will take me back to this other video from Plateau State as well.
Do you know that most of these places that are under attack in northern Nigeria have some of the biggest natural resources underneath the ground, and the trading of those natural resources are going on while people are being killed in those communities. Do you know? Now let me bring you up to speed real quick. If you realize some of the most fertile lands in northern Nigeria are the ones that are being attacked. Most of our fresh, beautiful vegetables and fruits come from Plateau State. Do you know what is underneath those beautiful fertile lands? It is also solid minerals. Guza. For some of you who know, you know. People are killed daily while miners are mining
Sorry,
those
the
lands.
MixLR is working. Not too sure why you said it's not working, because as I speak to you, we have 8 people that are listening. Maybe from your end, it could be network.
How can you raise down an entire village? Bring it down to ashes. Evacuate everybody there and go behind their backs to go and be mining their gold. How wicked can you be? Do you know that it's also affecting not only our economy, but also the food supply for the common man who cannot afford to eat? I'm a farmer. Yes, I'm an agri-entrepreneur. I deal with grains. And the rate at which food is going to be scarce in 2024, you are not ready for it. Things that we buy for as low as 20,000 when they are in surplus, we bought this year.
I don't want to take us too much on that video because I have just limited time before the end of this program. So I'm going to go back now and take us through the little bit of history that we've known or we've heard about these Miyetti Allah. So we're going to start from the beginning. I've given us a lot of previews from the back. So now let's read a little bit more about them. Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, sometimes also called Macban, is a loose partisan advocacy group centered on promoting the welfare of the Fulani pastoralists in Nigeria. The organization was founded in the early 70s with the headquarters in Kaduna. It became legally operational in 1979. It gained wider acceptance as an advocacy group in 1987. Macban represents the interests of about 100,000 semi-nomad and the nomad in the country. Officials' record of the early history of Miyetti Allah asperse the oral history by some members trace it to 1960s, while others to 1972, when the association was formed in Kaduna. The association early members were legally dominated by the settled Fulanese, the word settled Fulanese, whose early concept of Miyetti Allah was to promote the welfare of all Fulanese through self-help. In the 70s, the organization was led by Muhammadu Saidu, with membership in Kaduna and Plateau State. The lady speaking earlier was speaking from Plateau State perspective. Saidu was born in Jos, but spent his adulthood in Kaduna, was a key figure in the campaign to get new members to join. Both Kaduna and Plateau State had the local branches affiliated with the local government or community. The meetings were irregular and not all national or state level resolutions were adhered to. But as the association extended to more states, aims favoring nomadic education, access of grazing reserves by cattle breeders became a common theme. Despite the best intentions of the organization, some Fulani communities have perceived Miyetti Allah as an ineffective government-aligned organization. As a result, some Fulani communities have become disillusioned with Miyetti Allah and resort to forming their own vigilante groups. Mission. A major goal of Macban is to be the umbrella organization of the Fulani herdsmen within the country. The activities of the organization involves liaising with the government on behalf of the pastoralist land use right, nomadic education, and conflict resolution between the pastoralists and the farmers. The group also supports protecting and increasing grazing reserves for cattle breeders in the country. However, Not all pastoralists intend to stay within the grazing reserves, and the organization provides information to convincing grazing reserve skeptics among the Norman to buy into the idea. As the major promoter of welfare of the Fulani pastoralists, increased incidences of farmer-herder conflict and cattle rustling since 2011 have brought the previously little-known group into a wider attention. The group board of trustees led by the Sultan of Sokoto, your guess is as good as mine. It received funding from the board and other donors. I want us to take note of that. The group's board of trustees is led by the Sultan of Sokoto. It receives funding from the board and other donors. Who are these other donors? Your guess is as good as mine. The national chairman is elected every 4 years. When Macban was founded, it received support from Sultan Abubakar III Aminu, the emir of Zazu, Usman Nagogo, the emir of Kastina, and Ado Bayero, the late emir of Cano. The emirs of this emirate compose a part of the group's board of trustees. Your guess is as good as mine. You can see that this group is very, very powerful in today's known Nigeria. Can we live together is a question in the lips of many Nigerians. I will play what Chief Tola Adeniyi told us some years back. As I leave that out of the picture, once again, what have we known the Miyetti Allah of today? Apart from the security vigilante outfit that was established in Nasarawa with about 4,000 men, we have seen the Miyetti Allah not just giving orders, also threatening different indigenous people with the cattle rustling into the graceland where many innocent lives have been killed. Yet, Nigerians are waiting for a miracle to come. My name is OLAMILEKAN. As we are just about 27 minutes to the end of the program, now I want us to add some of these atrocities that we've witnessed before, but again, it's a reminder that should we do nothing, it will come to us and we will all be entrapped in what is known as Nigeria today. So the next video coming up now will be from Chief Tola Adeniyi. Chief Tola Adeniyi, as a lot of us know him, is a Yoruba man that have spoken frequently about who are the Fulanis and what is their agenda in today's Nigeria. We're going to get the audio out in just about a few minutes. Bear with us because I guess I need to mute my mic while that audio is going to play. Once again, you might say all this is nothing. Even if Nigeria is not going to be Islamized, are we allowed to practice the kind of Islam in the Southwest, especially with these marauders that are calling themselves cattle herders? Are we in the economy of Nigeria today not being destroyed by the same powerful groups of these people that are backing them up? They've literally given them the upper edge against all indigenous people. Our existence together is not working. It is time that we say it the way it is. So I'm going to mute my mic and then we're going to listen to Chief Tola Adeniyi for about 8 minutes, 6 seconds.
They do all this.
Bear with me. I got to get the audio out as well. It's been a while we've played things behind the scene. So I need the audio to be out on monitor output as well. I guess, yeah. Let's see. Let me see if it comes out.
Things that all.
Yeah. So now let's listen to Chief Tola Adeniyi. Those of you on the koikimedia YouTube will be able to see him, but the rest of you, you will just listen to him while I do the same as well. Once again, while that is going on, we appreciate every one of you that have joined us as usual. If you're new to this platform, remember to do your own part as I am doing mine as well.
drink, they fornicate, they do all the things that all human beings do. So it's not a question of religion. There's no question of anybody being truly a Muslim there. You know, even I knew a chief judge who was supposed to be leading Muslim prayers, who anytime he came to me in my official residence, he would put a brandy or whiskey in a mug and be drinking, and they will smoke and all that. So I don't think it's religion. When they started this Sharia, how many of them are obeying the Sharia? How many of them? No, not none of their leaders. So it's not religion per se, but they use religion to deceive people and say Hausas were not Muslims at all. So they say, well, let's give you a superior religion, we'll give you Islam. But that didn't apply to the South, because we've had Muslims in Yoruba land even before 14th century.
So truly, what we are fighting against, or what is going on, is clash of culture.
And civilizations.
And civilizations.
That's right.
Not really the Fulani versus the Igbo, or the Fulani versus the Yoruba.
No.
It's clash of civilizations.
Yes, clash of civilizations and clash of cultures. Yes, you're right.
That means we have not really integrated as a people.
Never. We have never been.
So the word the Nigerian people is a fallacy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Because, again, in those days, you will say, there have always been Igbo markets, Hausa markets in Enugu. There have always been Sabos in Shagamu. But those Sabos were occupied by Hausas. Hausas are peaceful people. We traded in Kolanot. We did even the few Fulanis that came with them at that time, when you had a Sabo in Shagamu or in Ibadan here, they would still look for one Fulani man and make him their Seriki.
How did the Hausa accept
they were subdued. They were subdued.
Despite their large numbers.
Yes, they were subdued. Of course, they killed, they ruined, they extirpated their 7 kingdoms. They killed their 7 rulers and took over under the guise of religion. Another thing they used the word corruption. Oh, your people are corrupt. We are saints. Your people are corrupt. They've always used the word corruption to deceive people.
But the jihad is over. How come the Hausa man is yet to claim that Hausaness again?
It's just now that the efforts we are making in the South have begun to yield fruits. You will be surprised to hear that now in Hausa land, we now have Hausa Christians. Never had that before. Never. You now have Middle Belt Forum that are saying we are not Northerners, we are Middle Belters. We are not Northerners. Don't call us Northerners. Now, when you see a Jukum man or you see a Lantan man and you say you are Hausa or you are Fulani, he will be angry. He may even draw his dagger. Don't call me Fulani. I'm not Fulani. I'm not Hausa. What we did not know until recently is that when you call a Fulani man Hausa, he will be angry. He will say Banzani. Because he knows that I'm superior to Hausa. Can you say I'm Hausa? But before Buhari came to establish his suzerainty over Nigeria, we lumped all of them together for Northerners. And like I wrote some 4 years ago, there's no North. There's no North that we used to know. The North is dead. There's nothing called North anymore.
So there's a Fulani now standing on his own.
He's standing on his own. There's no more North. If they try any war today, oh God of mercy. The kind of cohesion you had in the army, the military in 1966, will never happen again in this country, if there is a country at all. You will not find a Hausa soldier now, an Igbo soldier going to Enugu to kill a fellow Igbo. You will not even find an Igbo soldier coming to Ibadan to kill a Yoruba man, or a Yoruba soldier going to Enugu to kill an Igbo man. It will not happen again. So the Lantan people, the Benue people will never ever allow themselves to be used by any Fulani mischief maker.
So if I'm getting you right, your argument is that the Fulani hegemony has been broken.
Dead.
If the Fulani hegemony has been broken,
yes,
does it mean that the social structure of Nigeria is about to witness a very hard hit that will lead to a new Nigeria?
Yes, for those who agree with you to the extent of the fact that there are still some people who want a Nigeria, a group that I don't belong to. But for such people, yes, with the weakening of Fulani hegemony, there could be a Nigeria that will integrate the sober Fulanis, the town Fulanis, and still reconstruct, rebuild, and then have a Nigeria that should be. But I, as a person, as Tola Deni, believe that it will take probably 1,000 years to change the mindset of a Fulani person whose philosophy is kill, maim, rape, send away people from their land and let me occupy it.
That is the bush Fulani.
It is the bush Fulani.
Not the town Fulani.
Not the town Fulani.
And the town Fulani is more in number.
No! The town Fulani is less than 1%.
How did you get that figure?
Oh, go and find out. Let them allow a sense. Who are the town Fulani? There are very few. The ones who have in Abuja. Or the few that dot spaces in Sokoto. I'm sure that that Sokoto, as we speak, is not a Fulani town.
Is it not?
No, that's a mistake we make. Zamfara is not a Fulani town. There are more houses in Zamfara than Fulani. There are more houses in Cano than Fulani.
But the Fulani govern.
They are in town. They are in charge.
Yes, so it's their town.
Yes. By subterfuge, by cunning, by crookedness, by all sorts of gimmickry.
Or by integration.
Not integration, by intimidation. And I said they are politically savvy. What they did to the rest of Nigeria, when they realized that the Fulani in the military, they could no longer use the military to retain power indefinitely. Since they've had power, they had access to the treasury, they say, oh yes, Edmond is from the east, or wherever, brilliant man. He may likely oppose us and contest with us and rival us. Let's make him an ambassador, oil block. Let's make him a billionaire. We padlock his mouth. Let's get an Abiola, make him a billionaire. Let's get this, let's get that. And make them big. They will never be able to look us in the face. Then we can continue. Looting the treasury, we can continue. And once when we are in control of the treasury, we are in control of everywhere. So we can hire thugs, we can do whatever we would like. And that is why they introduced what I call plutocracy into Nigerian political etymology. Plutocracy.
Meaning?
Plutocracy is the government of the rich.
Yeah.
Oligarchy is the government of the muscle men.
Thank you so much, those of you that are watching us now. We are I believe we're still live on the koikimedia software. Let's hear from what is happening from Ilaro and link that again. We've left Ibadan. We are now, koikimedia is live as I speak to you right now from Ilaro. Let's listen to what is happening from Ilaro. Not sure why we're not getting any audio. Okay, audio is coming in. Okay, it seems that we're struggling with the audio from Ilaro. Not too sure why, but whatever it is, we are not getting the audio. But there's an event going on right now as I speak to us from Ilaro. It's a drum festival. koikimedia plan to cover as many of our culture, our event that is happening from around the world this year. So let me just bring that back out because it seems that we're struggling to get signal from Ilaro. I wanted to bring that into the program. We've listened to Chief Tola Adeneye before earlier. We are coming towards the end of this program this morning, this afternoon, depending on wherever you're watching us from. I would like to appreciate everyone that have joined me in this broadcast. I hope you've learned one or two things that you've never had before, and I hope you can take that and to share with many of our colleagues, our comrades, our uncles, our fathers, that the Nigeria of today is not the Nigeria that we know, because we have now been able to change the narratives. There's still a lot of work to be done. That work needs to be done between every single one of us. This particular broadcast is been coming from UK, where I am currently based. If you're still one that wants to know what is happening with the Yoruba self-determination movement, make sure you follow us on the website www.koikimedia.com. You must follow all my social media handles to be able to know the development of what is happening with the movement. There is a lot that still needs to be covered. We are not there yet. We are not going to be stopping the campaign. Regardless of whatever anybody's saying out there, everybody has the right to say whatever rubbish they want to say, especially with our leader, Oloye Dr. Sunday Omadeyemo Igboho. That is entirely up to them. We love him. We will not stop loving him because it came out when many Nigerians failed to protect